Hello, YouTubes. Welcome to Campaign Terrain. I'm your host, That Guy Cross. If you're coming here for the first time, hail and well met. Nice to have you. Thank you for coming. If it is not your first time and you're coming back, well, congratulations. You're one of my campaigners, and I love to have every one of you, whether you're new or been here 100 times. So tonight, I'm going to attempt to speed build a house. Now, there's a trick to that. You can't do it all at once. So I have a bunch of pre-made parts that I'm going to try to stick together into a functional, complete house. But I've already created some wall pieces and some things like that, but I'm going to show you how to take those pieces and put them together to make a functional house. That's what I'm doing tonight. Toward that end, I've gotten my shingles. I've gotten some shingle cutters that I used to make foam shingles, and I've made a bunch of the foam shingles prior, so I have those here and ready to go. Alternatively, you can do like Summon Lesser Maker says to do, and he and many people now that he has suggested it to us do is take the stick-on foam sheets, and you can use a pair of pinking shears, but the special ones. Now, I will show you these over here. These are scalloped. They are not triangles. And those little scallops, when you cut, they make what looks like the bottoms of shingles. So you can just take them and cut a strip and cut another strip and cut another strip. And you can use the strip above to cover where the cutouts are from the one below it. So that you, as long as you start from the bottom and build your way up to the top, they keep overlapping and hiding the part that would connect to the top part. So really simple and easy. I'm actually not doing that tonight, but he shows it a bunch on his channel. So go check out Summon Lesser Maker. He does great stuff, and I'm going to start doing that. You'll see in a moment, because I'm going to go through a box here in a second, and you'll see that I do have some of the stick-on foam, or stick-on cork, excuse me. I am just not doing it that way tonight because I already have all of these other shingles here. So give me just a moment. Let me switch back to the other cam. Hello again. I'm going to dig around behind, whoop. No, I don't know, wherever, somewhere over here. I'm going to go through my boxes of wood stuff because I need a couple of things for this house build. I need my coffee stir type sticks, and I also need some square dowels that I'm going to use for the corners. And I'm basically going to put the glue on the dowel, push it against the wall. That's going to be the front wall, then the back wall, and then I'm going to put the side walls in separate. I need to remember to do a thing that I always forget. I always cut all my walls in straight strips and then have to attach triangular pieces to them. I don't want to do that. So some of these I want to already have the triangle piece on them for the gables, and I'm going to put those on the ends so that way where they come down to the end, they will already be above the wall or right at the surface of the wall. So that way I don't have to trim anything on the wall off at a weird 45-degree angle. It'll already be built in. I will be doing all of that in a moment. I'm going to be taking some foam core that's pre-textured. I've got it over there. I'm going to cut it into some strips, and some of the strips are going to have the gables on them. So that's where I'm at so far. Before I get into it any further, as ever, I like to thank my Patreons. So I have three of them so far. I can't count, but 3. And let me go through them real quick. Lisa is Dungeon Matron. She has her own Discord server, and a lot of people just like to hang out there. There's places where you can hang out and show off your work, show off your works in progress, get assistance. It's just a fun hangout. She doesn't really have a online presence other than that, so it's just a really chill place to hang. If you need a link to her Discord, I don't have a permanent link to hers yet, so you're going to have to go to mine. Links in the doobly-doo. And if you go to my Discord and then ask me, I will happily give you a link to her Discord. Both of which are fun places to hang out and discuss all these types of things. There's absolutely no pressure. If you are first day starting out and you don't know what a hot piece of hot glue is, to look, I built this enormous castle. Anything in between, love to see what you got. Love to help you with what you need. Second is Patrick Walther, also has a YouTube channel, but I still haven't gotten confirmation. I'm supposed to let people know that. So anyway, he's been contributing to the channel for a long time, and I hugely appreciate it. And then third is DC. Now, DC is Digital Calibrator, and that's a real-life friend of mine. Comes over here and helps me with things. Now, Dungeon Matron and DC have both contributed to the sound and audio. So if you're hearing me, you got them to thank for it. DC has also helped me with some of the lights. So if you're seeing me, you can thank her for that as well. So That's all of that out of the way. So let me dig around in the back behind and try to find my lumber pieces I need. Meanwhile, let's see who we got going on. Oh, Lisa's here. You don't earn our money on here on a Sunday. Hello. There she is. Right there. You can ask her right there. I don't have a permanent link to your Discord. If you have a permanent link, give it to me and I'll start to spout at the people when I talk about you. LC, there's Loosely Collected. Now, Loosely Collected also has some work on Sundays, so sometimes is not here, but is here tonight, so excellent. And Mrs. Lynn is a long-time super duper friend of mine. Let's just go with that. And not sure how much I'm supposed to talk about that, but glad to have all of you here. I had a fourth one, but they seem to have skedaddled. That is okay. They'll be back. So, oh, well, part of that's easy. There's my stir sticks. I'm going to need those. Those are the thin ones. Now, I talked about these before. These are actually the kind that get used for lollipops. And I don't mean like ice cream lolly sticks. I mean like actual lollipops. You can see how flexy they are. And these are super thin and narrow. I actually didn't think I would like these when a housemate of mine, who is a confectioner, a pastry chef, makes desserts and such, gave me these. And I did not think I like these, but I'm actually kind of digging these. They are a better scale. If you look at them in comparison to the hands on a mini, they are just about, as you can see, just about this wide. So that makes them 3.5, which is about the size of a 2x4. So they're actually really close to in scale. So I'm quite liking those. So that's these. And these are lollipops. They come in a bag of like 2,500 for like $8. They were like nothing. I prefer to recycle or swipe them from a understanding coffee shop or whatever. But those were given to me, so can't say no to free. All right. Let's see. Now, I could, if I can't find the wood, the wooden square dowels that I'm wanting to use, then I can use foam instead and may switch to that. Now, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to turn on my big, bright honking light here for a second. Okay. Sorry about the glare. I know it does. By the way, I build a lot of things out of the Dollar Tree's fake Jenga blocks. Like a lot of things. These are stupid useful. So I highly suggest these. It's 3 per layer and blah, blah. I think it's 72 or 75 or 78 of those for $1.25. So I have a lot. Just showing you that because they're on top of my wooden box. My box of wood things. So let's see. There's some offcuts, and I have some from earlier, so I'll toss those in there. I may use some of those tonight. Don't need the piece of cardboard. Let's see what we got in here. Oh, that's things for shaping foam. We don't necessarily need that. Okay. Big hunk of plywood. I have a lot of wooden pieces, so this box is labeled wood 2. I also have a box that's labeled wood. So, oh, let's see. I'm really looking for my windows. Now, I did have some other shingles that were cut like this. So these are individual ones. You can't really tell, but these were cut out of ice cream sticks that I had taped in a big band. And then I hacked through these. I used what's called a razor saw in one of my tiny little miter boxes to cut those. So those are just made out of ice cream sticks. So also got some mini wood sticks or matchsticks. I've also got some burnt matchsticks I collected from somewhere else, but that's not what I'm looking for. Oh, while I'm here, these are those pre-driftwood looking sticks that I was talking about in my pier build last week. And these are from the $1.25 tree as well. And yeah, you can get about 20 or 25 of those for $1.50, $1.25. All right, so I don't need that, don't need that, don't need that. I'm not using those. smaller doors. Those are the ones that I made before and then realized I needed bigger ones. So I may use those. Maybe the only ones I can find. And if they are, that's what I'm building, because I just need houses that go on a table to fill up space. I don't need them to be specifically to scale on these. So I may just build them with the smaller doors. All right. Let's switch back to watching me dig through my bins here. Let's see. That's electronics. That's, what is that? More electronics. By electronics, I mean things that I've destroyed that I will use later as parts for things. There's an upcoming build on, there was a challenge build today on Carl Makes Stuff channel. So go back and watch Carl Makes Stuff. Lisa's got the build on there, got some builds on there. I have some builds on there. Carl has some builds on there. Kim has some builds on there. That's Questboard Terrain. Guy whose name I never remember, but it's Sahakcraft. He's that's the name of his channel, and he has some stuff on there. Links to all of those are under that video. So go watch today Carl's video from today. Some really cool stuff. Oh, and mine too. There's mine stuff and some cool stuff. That's a joke. I actually think my stuff is just fine. All right, so here's the stick-on foam that I was talking about. Oh, I'm on the wrong camera. Here's the stick-on foam I was talking about that Aaron over at Summon Lesser Maker likes to use. This is, no, that's foam. I mean cork. I keep saying foam. I mean cork. And there's these sheets from Dollar Tree that is what he uses with the shears. These things that I showed you at the beginning. So these go, and you can make a bunch of shingles that way. And I will be doing that, but not tonight. Okay. Won't be doing anything tonight if I don't find my other doors. That's not true. I'll make it work. Lisa actually sent me some doors recently. I might use one of them. Okay. I have a little box somewhere of doors and windows, but I don't see it. And I thought it was in here. So, okay, I may only build part of a house. I do not know. Huh. And here I said I literally started the video talking about be prepared, and I cannot find my doors and windows. This is Tentacles. This is tea paper from tea bags. This is dryer sheets and similar. This is all sorts of random plastic bits I don't have any specific place else for. Huh. This is fun. Y'all looking at my back while I talk about doors. Aha! Success. Doors. All right. I think there should be windows in here as well. Let's take a look together. Okay. Okay, so I've got a clip-on door similar to, I made these for years, but never very well. If you want to look at clip-on doors, don't look at mine. Go to Wylock. Go to Wylock's channel, some of his earlier videos. He's got some clip-on doors that are amazing. So these are my doors, and I guess I don't know where my windows went. So I may only build part of a house tonight. Sorry about that. Windows are easy though, so I can probably knock some of those out pretty quick. But here's my door, so that's a good start. All right, now I have previously taken an entire sheet of the cheapy Dollar Tree foam core, and I don't know if you can see this, but I have textured the entire side of the, oh, I've still got the crummy line on. Okay, there you go. Now you can see the texture. And I have taken a rock and some aluminum foil and various things, and I've textured the entire surface of this entire sheet, which is why it looks all lumpy and bumpy, which is perfect. That's what we want. Now, I need to make a sheet of this the height of my previous house. I don't remember the height of my previous house, so I'm going to grab one and just use it to eyeball it. I have 927 houses over here, and I don't know where they are. Always the way, isn't it? Be prepared, he says. Yeah. All right, so we're going to use this instead. This will work. Oh, there's one. There's one. Never mind. I found one. I promise I'm coming back. Okay. Here's a different style of house I was building before, but I want them to basically be the same size as this. So I'm going to use this as my measurement, and I'm going to put this, but this is going to be steeper. So I need a whole strip across here because that's going to be the front and rear walls. If I build it this way, I could build it that way. Yeah, it's going to be the front and rear walls. And then the ones with the peak on them will be the side walls. So let's measure that. By the way, I switch back and forth between metric and imperial. Sorry, it's just the way I am. So these are close enough to 4 inches tall. So we're just going to use 4 as the height for the corner and this height, but we're going to come up 45 degrees from here. I'm going to make the inside of this building 4 by 6. So I want to take a marker of some description and make a very small mark. Now, permanent markers can melt this foam, so you just got to be careful. I'm not going to draw a line all the way across. I'm going to mark 2 little marks, and then I'm going to use a straight edge to cut it. Okay, now I want this to be at 4 inches, I said. So if you're looking for one of these at a hardware store, they are called a speed square. They are a very, 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 very common and readily available tool that you should have no problem finding one. And this one, oh, these are aluminum. I think I got these at Harbor Freight for like $3 each. They cost very little. They also come in plastic, a little bit cheaper, like $2. Okay, so I got my 2 little marks made. I am now going to take a straight edge. A very good friend of mine, got a very good friend of hers, to make this, and it's rolled sheet metal, and it makes a perfect straight edge to cut along. So it has been absolutely amazing. And I didn't even know she was going to get it. And she asked him, and he made it in like no time. And now I have it, and I love it. Now, I build on 1/48 scale, so that's actually going to mean that this is technically a 16-foot tall house. So I'm thinking that I might not actually want it that big, but then I look at the house, and this is, did I say that was 4 inches? Because I don't know if it's 4 inches. Oh, 3 inches, see? Measure 47 times, cut once. Knife away for safety. Okay, let's start over again. 3 inches, that makes more sense. Now, that means my house is about 12 feet tall, which is fine. That's well within norms. That's a old joke. You get that? Congratulations, your back hurts. All right, let me look at what people are saying, because y'all are actually talking out here. Okay, not one videos. Oh, hey, you can't stay, but you're here. That's good. I'm very happy to see that he's another one from the UK. It's very late there. It's midnight there. So, tentacles, yes, tentacles. I have a whole box of tentacles. I've shown you the tentacle box. I am, in case you're still there, Michael, or if you see this later, I am doing fairly well. Yes, thank you. I hope you are as well. I am looking so forward to your new craft space build out and all of that. So looking forward to that. I know you said that you've got the video already in the works, so excellent. Oh, and Sim Peasant's here. Hi, Jess. Sim Peasant has a YouTube channel where she plays very chill games, things that do not have a lot of anger and angst, and it's very, very relaxing to watch her channel. So go watch that. Well, nothing wrong with a taller house, but if I was going to build it that much taller, I might as well build a 2-story, and I'm not really doing that today. I could do an attic. Now, there was an actual period in European history where the houses were about 15 feet tall, and they had a kind of sleeping attic up there. They would make beds out of ticking, which is there are so many kinds of heavy cotton, but it's a heavy cotton or heavy, not flax. That's the word I'm looking for. Anyway, a heavy natural fiber fabric that's really tough, but ticking generally has a pattern printed on it or painted on it, but it typically does not have any type of fat or lard or anything like that put in it to waterproof it like sailcloth would. So they would make a bed out of that and toss that up into the thing, and it was essentially either the kids' room or the guest room above everybody else. But I grew up going on camping trips, and I'm tired of staying in campers, so no, I'm not going to make one of those. Okay, now this is 3 inches. I know that, so I want to go ahead and mark this again here. And here, I don't know if you can see both of them. I'm not looking at the camera right now, but I have marked that on both. No, good, you could. On here and here. I'm going to ignore these marks. They'll be fine. I can paint over them later, or I can just cut around them or whichever. Glue a door over them, whichever. So on this one, I want the gables, and I want the gables to be at about 45 degrees. Doesn't actually have to be anything 30 degrees or above is good. So I do want these to be 4 inches wide. So I am going to take this. This time it really is 4 inches. This time it's not 3 inches, and I'm not messing it up. So I need this to be about 4 inches. And about 4 inches. Okay, so that's my side wall, but I want a piece that comes up here. And I am absolutely going to eyeball that. That's not a question. So I'm going to take this piece, which is not long enough. I'm going to take this piece, which is plenty long. I am also going to cut it at 4. No, I don't want to do that with foam core. Let me grab that piece of cardboard I had a minute ago. There we go. Okay, now I need this piece to be about yay wide. That's an official measurement, yay. Okay, about yay wide. Okay, so that is my little end piece. Now I need to find the middle part of that, and I know it's 4 inches, so I know that's going to be 2 inches. And this is 45 degrees, and now that I look at it, that's too steep. We're not doing 45, so we're doing less than 45. So I am going to take 2 inches up here as well. As you can see, I am going to, this side is pretty much straight. This is the edge of the box. This side's all cut up, all wonky where I cut it before, so we're going to use the straighter side. Use the square on that. Draw me a line through the middle. Decide where I want that. I'm going to make that, this would be 45 degrees, and I think that's too steep. This would be 22 and some, 37, no, 32 and some change on the thing. Yep, I'm going from there. So I'm just arbitrarily picking out at 1.5 inches. You can put it wherever you want. I am now going to take that, any straight edge from any of your straight edges, and I'm going to draw that. Oops, the whole way. And now I know that this curves in a little, so this is a little messed up. So I'm actually going a little bit further than it, and that's fine. You use a better piece of cardboard than I did. Okay, now that piece needs to be cut out. Now there's lots of ways you can do this, but my biggest advice is sharp knife. Now, I don't think that let go. Nope, let's try that again. Okay, now we know that this is 4 inches over and 3 inches up and 4 inches over, and 3 inches up on this side. So we're going to take those, match those to there, and then draw that again. And I like to gauge everything, so I am going to cut this one out and then use it to cut the next one out. Measure 47 times, cut once. All right, let's see what we got going on in the chat here. He's got an attic, exactly. Imagine all the pillow stuffing we could have. We kept all the hair removed from getting haircuts. That's not frightening at all. Okay, so, but yes. I was joking, a friend of mine today had laid on the floor to do something, and when he stood up, he was covered in his dog's fur. I'm like, we could knit you a new dog. He's like, I've never heard that joke before. Okay, now this still has, it doesn't matter because that's going to be hidden completely inside. This will be if this house is playable, it will be done by lifting the house off of a floor and leaving the floor there. But I'm not planning on making this house be playable. I'm planning on making this house be quick, which, if I would shut up and stop talking, could possibly happen. Okay. Anytime you're cutting anything like this, you want to cut any sharp corner where you're worried about hurting the foam on the far side. You want to cut from that spot, not toward that spot. So I will be cutting from this corner in a bit, and then from this corner in a bit. So when you see me spin the knife around, I'm not nuts. I'm doing it intentionally. I mean, I may still be nuts, but not over that. Okay. Wait away for safety. Hang that up. All right. And okay. Now, if you get really fastidious and creative, you can take this piece and cut one here and start a whole second row here. I'm not doing that tonight. I'm just trying to get 2 of these out. So let me grab that, put that here, and I am literally going to hold that in place and cut around it. Whoop, with more blade out. Okay, we want to start at the corner and cut inward a bit, and start at the corner and cut inward a bit. And that should be, yep, there we go. That's enough for one whole house. And this stuff was $1.25. And I've only used this little chunk and one strip off that far side. So this is an inexpensive build, is what I'm saying. Oh, I want to come down. There we go. Now, all this stuff, this little junk that will not matter, because once it's all glued in, it's all going to be hidden anyway. Now, these are try to curl, because if you peel the foam off the paper off of one side, it tries to peel that side until you peel the other side of the paper off. And you can just work around that and glue it in place and have it hold it. I'm going to do that because it's got the extra rigidity, but you can peel it off so it stays flat. Now, I said I was going to use square pieces, and when I was going through there, I noticed that I did not find any square pieces of square wood doweling. So what I'm going to do is grab some old offcuts I've got. Now, this has that's the factory edge. This has a messed up edge that came from the factory. That way I can just hide that in there or whatever. Now, all of the other sides of this that have been cut are all smooth. So the way to fix that is we take a wire brush. You can use a steel wire brush. These come in a 3-pack. There's a steel, a plastic, and a brass. And I do not see my brass brush, but that's okay. You can work around that. The plastic won't actually dent into the foam. So the steel is really easy to get away from you and overdo it. So just be careful if you're using the steel one. I like the brass one. It tends to work better, but I can't find it. Oh, well. I did say I had that box of stuff for texturing stuff earlier. What did I do with that? Oh, that's got stuff on top of it. That's fine. We're not going back to that. All right, so in order to make this look like a wood grain, there's 2 ways. One is very simple, and the other is a little more complicated, but not really. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to need 4 pieces of this 3-inch height, and maybe some around the doors. We'll get to that if I need to. So I need at least 12 inches of this with the texture on it. This thing on my cutting mat happens to be 12 inches from here to here, so I know I've got plenty because, well, I've got plenty. So I'm going to start at least 12 inches up and just drag this down the side about 3 or 4 times. You can see that it gets a little wood texture in it. Maybe you can't see, but I'm trying to show you that it gets a little wood texture in it. Now, do that to that side and all 4 of them. And it doesn't matter if you overdo it like this, because once it gets painted up and everything, it's just going to look like it's older wood that's had a little wear and tear on it, and that is peachy keen. Okay, so that's the simple part of the wood grain. If you want to go more pronounced than that, which will give it a more cartoony look, and I'm not going to go for that, you can take a pencil. Let me show you on the other end. And you can take the pencil down through it like that, and you can draw like wood grain into it for a more pronounced look, which I'm hoping you can see. There you go. Okay, so, but I'm not using that end. I'm using the other end. So I know I want these in 3-inch blocks. So let's make sure that that's right. Yes. Okay. One of these is going to be, all 4 of these are going to be cut at slight angles. But we're doing that after. You'll see why in a minute. Okay, so 3 inches. And do this 4 times. If you have to mess up this cut, mess up by making it too long. Don't mess up by making it too short. If you mess up by making it too short, you got to cover it with stuff to hide that. If you make it too long, you can always cut it back off. You can take more off. You can't put that, well, you can put more back on, but it's more complicated than you want to get. Okay, so I'm going to have to sit for a minute because it is very warm in my basement. So I'm going to sit down and then I'm going to chat with you for a second. Directly to the front here again. Okay, let's see what we got going on in the thing. Yeah, $1.25 US, so that's $2 Australian. So that's Dinky Dioramas. Dinky Diorama, she builds amazing stuff. She just finished a general store. So watched the video. I watched it way early this morning, but I think she technically put it out yesterday. It's difficult for me to tell. She's like 14 to 16 hours ahead of me, depending on the time of year. But yeah, it's $1.25 for our foam core. And our foam core, this is the part that's going to make you really jealous. And I hate to tell you that, but our paper peels off on the white stuff from the $1.25 tree really easily. Like you don't have to hit it with alcohol. You don't have to hit it with hot water. Nothing. It just will peel right off. So yeah, Dollar Tree is talking about going from $1.25 to $1.50. Yeah, and without getting too political, yes, I guess we should have seen that coming. Yeah, when I used to, exactly. Foam core board is $20 for me. Now, I did look at the black stuff that's, excuse me, that you have in, I don't know if you have in Australia, but they have it in New Zealand called Jazzy board, something like that. I can get that here, but I can only get it in 12 packs, and it's narrower than this. This is 5mm when it's got both pieces of paper on it. It's 4mm when you peel off. Each of the 2 pieces of paper is about 1/2 mil. So this is about 5mm, maybe 4. And the Jazzy stuff only seems to come in 3mm. Or no, it's 4mm, but then once you take the paper off, it's 3. And it's the stuff with the black paper that peels off easy. And it's got black foam in the middle, which I would love. Please bring it here. But those sheets are 12 for $80. So $8 a sheet, 8 and some change a sheet. Yeah, I can't do that. $1.25 I can do. 7 times that, I'm out. Okay, so at this point, we have our main lumber. We have our main pieces. I need to cut the front and rear wall. These are the sides. I was doing 6x4. So those are 4. I need to cut 2 6-inch pieces out of here, but I'm going to do that. Y'all understand. I'm cutting 6-inch strips out of this. I can show you if you want, but yeah. But you can have the black foam, and I can't have the black foam. I have to put up with the white stuff, but it does peel easier and it's cheaper. So it's all a trade-off. Now there's this really beautifully, easily workable yellow stuff that they seem to have in like Spain and Portugal and stuff. Oh man, I'd love to get a hold of that and try some of it. It seems to just be perfect, but I don't speak enough Spanish to ask anybody to ship me any. What was I doing? All right, 6-inch strips. So let's switch back over here. Again, I told you that's 1 foot wide. So I will take that and put it there. And you do want to get this fairly straight, so I am lining up one edge with the lines on my board here. So I'm going to line those up like that. Nope, let's do it this way. I'm right-handed, so I got to switch to the other side. Ooh, I've squished the heck out of that side. Let's go this way. Okay, so we are going to cut that at 1 foot first and then cut it in half to get my 2 6-inch pieces. And I am eyeballing this. I should use a square, but I am not. And it looks like I did a pretty good job there. Okay. Now, this gray one here is 6 inches, so I'm going to use that one. Oh, almost didn't line it up straight. Just here, line it up like this, and then don't do it. Way to go, Cross. Okay. Yeah, so we're catching you like what, on lunch break, Dinky Dioramas? It's tomorrow. The land of tomorrow, also called Australia. Okay, so now I have my 2 front walls, my front and rear wall, and my 2 side walls. So, close knife for safety. I did not remember to turn on my hot glue gun, so we're going to wait on that. So let me tell you how I did this. I did get a laser cutter, and I've only made a couple of things with it because reasons. But one of the things I did make was 2 shingle jigs. And so what you do is you put a block of foam to fit in here, and then you take that and go dink, 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 dink on the hot wire between each of these little slits. Now, I do have these little ones on the far side. Yeah, those are too small. I shouldn't have made those. But this side has squared off shingles, and this side has rounded off shingles. And I kind of just make a bunch of both and stick them in together. So some of my shingles come up a little straighter than the others, even on the same build. But I notice that a bunch of them tend to have these little pieces chip off anyway. So they all end up looking rounded anyway. So it's never been a big deal. Now, this piece, it cuts halfway through and it leaves this wide lip here. So there's plenty of room to glue the next one on. However, if I had been thinking, I could have made that come deeper, and then I could have made these further back, and I would have had to put less on each time, which made a little bit less work. But then you end up with really long, skinny shingles, which don't look right to me. So I'm actually glad that I messed up in the good way. So, and if you break them, it's no big deal. Some of these are supposed to look like a little worn and torn anyway, so you can just take them and put them like that. I was straightening that, and I snapped it, and that is fine. So when I glue all these on in a minute, you will see how easily they go on. Actually, let me keep the busted one out because I can use it first and work from there. Okay, but as you can see, you come out with these big blocks of them, and then you take those and you put them on a hot wire cutter. Sorry if you don't have one. That really is the easy way to do these. And then take them and put them through so they cut little strip after strip after strip. Now, you can texture every one of these, again, with that wire brush the same way as you do a layer. You can texture a layer and then cut them. I have never felt the need to do that. I just slap them up there, and if they don't look like wood tiles, if they don't look like wood shingles, I'll just say they're clay tiles. I don't care. All right, so now this has a kind of rough, junky edge here. So you have 2 ways of dealing with that. You can glue that down and then put foam and stuff over it if you want to, if you're building it on a base. If you're not building on a base, it might be a little bit visible. Or you can do stuff like put a rock strip in here, which I am going to do, but I'm not going to do that till the end. Or you can just flip it up this way and put it up here. And once it's up under the edge of the roof, you will never see it. It will just go away. So let's see if my, oops, I left some of my wood pieces out. That is okay. I'll put them up after. See if my hot glue gun is squidgy yet. No, let me switch that to high just to get it flowing faster. And then get that working. I don't really have anything to say right yet. Oh, let's take a look at these. I do have a much earlier video if you want to go back and look at some of my cringier videos back earlier, where I was working on some houses before. I don't know if I have just a doors and windows video or if they're in with my earlier house builds. They were called like my hovel house or whichever. These are 3 strips of the wider coffee stirrers, the old ones that I did have that you can get from Dollar Tree, but I don't currently have any. So I guess it would be probably 4 of these wide, and those are just glued onto a normal tongue depressor type stick, or you can just glue it onto like food card or any piece of paper or construction paper, card stock, anything. And you glue 3 of them or 4, depending how wide you want your door, in strips. Glue some of the matchstick across, glue another little piece for a latch door. And I shelled out this whole batch. Well, not that one. I shelled out the whole batch of these in, it couldn't have been an hour and a half. So, and then they can be stained or painted or whatever later. I don't like to paint wood. I like to stain wood, whichever. So I'm going to have a front and rear door on this cabin. So the front and rear are basically going to look identical. So if I plunk it down, it's ready to go. It does. I don't even have to worry about which way. I do need to make a chimney for this, but that is going to be super simple, and I'll show you how at the end. So put those in there. We'll get them later. As I said, if you're building on a slightly smaller scale, if you're building for halflings or anything, these are my older stock that I started to go with. And you can see that I didn't quite make these large enough. Now, I build on 148. So this door comes out to 3 feet wide and 7 feet tall. These come out to 3 feet wide and 6 feet tall. And that's not tall enough. So that's why I have 2 scales. That goes there, that goes here. I would say that those could be used for goblin homes, but depending on the goblins in your world, they may not even have doors. They may all live in caves still. Okay, let me take a look over here. $20 for a sheet of foam core. That's insanity. Even though your $20 is less than our $20, that's still nuts. Let's see. Kind of weird to think about it. I remember a time when locally I had to go to an art supply or office supply to get any foam board. Yeah, now it's at the Dollar Tree, Walmart, Target. Yeah, you can get it everywhere. Especially now that it's used in like science fairs and art fairs for schools, because then they have just tons of it available at back to school time. That was loosely collected, said that. That's absolutely true. Yeah, they all call it foam board now, but I always called it foam core. I still call it foam core. Okay. Oh, enjoy your tea. I'm sorry if you missed all that. Have a good one. I can answer. Okay. Dungeon Matron asked Dinky Dioramas what she uses instead of foam core. You should go watch her channel, because she uses just corrugated for almost all of her stuff, and she makes the most amazing stuff. I mean, just amazing. It's a bigger scale than I typically build in, so you'd have to adjust it with foam, with regular cardboard. But she's just using regular corrugated, or sometimes like that packing, like you get inside stuff that comes out and you like unrolls and it's only got the foam on one side, which I think is how she made the tin roof on her recent general store. And I may be wrong on that. She may have peeled one side off of corrugated for that. If she did, it was that really thin corrugated, like on pizza boxes, not the thick stuff like you get a refrigerator in. Okay. Yeah, you can make some of this, all this out of just corrugated cardboard. You really can. It's super easy. Yeah, and you can hide. Yeah, you can hide almost anything. The trick that what we do is not the building necessarily as the making it look good, because you can build stuff out of almost anything. I got to go grab a board to sit down so that my hot glue doesn't melt my cutting board. Give me just a second. I'm not going anywhere. You can still hear me. I've got a microphone attached to my head, but let me go grab this thing. Okay. Now, I do not even remember what I was doing between these, but I'm still taped there, and I'll remember later. So I'm going to leave it there. So I'm going to flip this over and use the back side. This is actually some sort of cutting board made out of, I think it's a man-made stone. It could be a real stone. I have no idea. But really, all I'm needing it for is to not melt anything with the hot glue. Let me switch the hot glue back to low. It should be goopy by now. Yep, that's goopy. Okay, now, switch back to that. All right, so like I said, this is, I think, a artificially made board. This is actually supposed to be the backside. That's why it's so nasty looking. Get that glue off of there. And this was the front side, but you can see that cutting it, I press harder cutting this stuff than you would like cutting chicken for dinner or whatever. So I've scored that. I got it. But yeah, I've used this for years and years and years, and it's put up really well. It's literally, I think what this is the piece that's cut out of a countertop when the counter was installed, and this is where the sink went. How I got this, I used to go to this store that had all sorts of weird stuff the guy had gotten from garage sales and estate sales. And I got it for like, I think I probably got it for asking nicely. He may have charged me $1 for it. And I have used this for longer than I want to admit. We do get older, don't we? Okay, so now I am not gluing these to these because that's going to leave some kind of weird seam. So that is why I wanted these wooden pillars. So I am now going to take this and put a bead, hot glue, small bead. You don't want it squidging out everywhere. So small bead of hot glue. I say small, but I forgot how hot I had gotten this first, so it would do faster. Okay, so a little bit of hot glue. Now, if you're using it on high temp, you can melt your foam, so be careful. Also, you know, don't melt yourself. Okay, so I'm going to make that a good smear across there. Now, this is curving, so I'm going to take that and press it flat, and then press this wood against it, and I want this to line up because this is 3 inches and this is 3 inches, so that's both my 12-foot in-scale height. Since I put a texture on all 4 sides of this piece of lumber, it doesn't matter which way I just stuck it on there. If you did only texture part of it and you need to go back and do it, you can always take the steel wire brush and brush across it again after. Okay, now it doesn't want to move, so get that up off the board. Okay, let's do this to the other side as well. Now it's still trying to curve, but all that'll go away once we fix the other side to it. Affix the other side to it. Okay. I'm a professional, you can tell, because I'm putting all the glue on off screen. We're specially trained for that. Okay, now again, press flat. Take that piece, line them up, top and bottom. Press and hold for just a second because hot glue is not going to take that long to cool off. Okay, then just to make sure it's not glued down. Okay, now we want to attach the sidewalls in from that edge, so it leaves that little lip. So we want to basically line this edge up and go like that, but we're doing that after. Let me get the back wall lumbered up first. Knife out of the way. A little bit of glue. Press flat. Press the lumber on. Oh, I do need to mention, when you're doing this, make absolutely certain that you're putting the paper side of the foam core down or the side that you have not textured down, because that's going to be the inside of the house. So you will definitely want the textured part on the outside. Okay, now that's not quite long enough there, so and unfortunately that was the part I was going to use at the bottom. I can trim that off or just ignore it. I think I'm just going to ignore it. You won't see it when it's done. You'll see what I'm talking about, or in fact you won't see what I'm talking about. A little bit of glue, that's too much. Okay, there we go. And we will take that. Yeah, that's that side I think is ugly, so we will seal that inside the house. Oh my gosh, it's sticking to me with the static electricity. There it goes. Okay. Now, pressed flat to the surface so it doesn't curve too much. Line that. We've got that little overhang lip there. Oh, that one came loose all on its own. Excellent. Didn't have to cut that one free. Okay, so now you can see that still has a bit of a curve. There are ways to fix it if you need to. Right now, I am not worried about it. I'm going to take that and press it flat, and I'm going to put a bead of glue along. I'm going to call this the outside edge and the inside edge. I'm going to put it along the inside edge, but still on the edge board foam. We'll take that. Don't know why I'm holding my breath for that. Okay, now you want to try to keep this part here as flat as possible, as straight as possible. Remember which side you're using as the top, which this needs to go this way. And push that into the hot glue so that the white edge lines up with the white edge. I will show you what I mean in just a moment. Can't show you from that side, and I'm trying to get this done before this glue sets. By the way, hot glue does not dry. Hot glue is not wet. Hot glue sets. I don't know what the opposite side is. I'm going to call it goops. Okay, so that should be plenty. Now, the reason I said white side to white side is because that way, that leaves this lip here on both the front and the side. Okay, now I do that 3 more times. Make sure which side we're using is the top and the bottom. That's the bottom. Okay, now I will try to show you from this side. Again, along the lumber on the side toward that white edge. Then we take this piece, and it's trying to curve, so you want to keep that as straight as possible. And we will take that and set it right on top of that with white edge to white edge, which you probably can't see. There you can. White edge to white edge. So that one is good to go. Now, remember earlier when I said that I wasn't going to have to cut this part at 45 degrees? I'm going to have to cut this part at 45 degrees. It's going to be a pain in the junk. So there are ways to avoid that, but essentially you'd need this piece to be standing proud like that, and I didn't do that. Now, I'm going to cheat, and you will see how in a moment. Okay, so same thing again. Glue along the foam on the side toward the white, not towards the outer edge. Make sure you don't put your house on upside down. Keep it as straight as possible. Line it up inner edge to inner edge. Make sure that you're not standing too high or too low on the house itself. Okay, now this front wall is still got a little bit of a curve to it just because that paper and all that. If you really want to get rid of that, what you can do is put cross pieces across inside here and just brace it in place. I'm not caring that much because once the roof's on here, it'll be more rigid and it'll be fine. Okay, last one here, and then we can start on the roof. And I have no way to carefully show you this because this is going to be right in your way. So, nope, that's not going to happen. Okay, so just trust me. I'm going the same thing as I've done 3 other times. Right along that inner edge. Take this piece. Try to keep it straight. This is really trying to get all curvy on me. And then line that up. That paper edge to that paper edge. Try to keep this straight. Get rid of any glue that squidges out before it leaves a permanent thing you got to deal with later. There we go. Good thing about hot glue, while it's still a little bit warm, you can just roll it off with your fingers and it comes right off. Okay, I can already feel that that is setting up right, so that is good there. Oh, got some pieces inside. Those wouldn't matter. They just happen to be bothering me. It felt weird. Okay, so the way I'm going to cheat this is I'm going to take more of this square stuff, and I'm going to build a fascia board here. And I am pretty much going to eyeball that. I will need to take that and go there. We'll take that and cut that off. And that is going to be our sample piece on the bottom edge because I'm making 4 of these. That'll be our sample piece. And then I'm going to go straight up from the middle part here and do that. There. Now these angles are different, so you're going to need to be aware of that. And that's going to do that. Now, I didn't put the texture with the steel brush on here, so I'm going to do that now. Oops. I'm going to attempt to do that now. Okay, while I'm attempting to do that, let's take a look at the chat and see if what y'all are talking about up here. Cross pieces. Technically everything I make is a cross piece. That's. But yes, I see what you did there. Okay, now. Oops. Same side. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now this piece has the 2 different angles. I want to match those. Now I know one of these is the same angle as this because I cut it off of there. I can just flip it that way, and that will allow me to know that that goes there, and this next one goes here. Always gauge when you can. Measure when you have to, but gauge when you can. Now, this is the different angle, so I want to take the first one so I don't keep cascading errors. Take the second one, move it off to the side. Take the first one, match that angle, and that allows me to match this back angle. And I'm hoping that this piece is long enough. Please be long enough. Ooh, no, it is not. That is a fail. That's all right. I got another piece up there. So we get another one just like that over here. This one's a little bit bigger, but it's going to be closer than that piece was. So we'll take that, toss it out of the way because we don't need it. This, texture, 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 texture. Missed the side. There it is. Okay, and then I want to take, I don't remember which was my original. I don't care anymore. I will take that, move it to where I've got enough space. This is kind of a broken off end, so not worried about where I really start with that. Take that, cut that angle, take that, cut that angle. Now I have 4. This can potentially be for the next house and the next house, but we're not doing that tonight. Ooh, I have foam everywhere. Good thing I have somebody to sweep that up for me. That someone is me, but I have them. Okay, so since I'm now repairing or covering this spot here, same thing. I'm going to be gluing all of these pieces on. Let's take a look at what we got going on here. He came back. Are you talking about me? Yeah, I probably snuck off. I don't know. Now this is going to be hidden under a roof, so you could probably get away with being a little less appropriate with the glue. How did that piece end up that much off? My house is going to be officially wonky. Oh well. Made by the lowest bid contractor, and well, I'm actually not getting paid for this, so my bid is 0. You take what you get. Okay, now I just kind of pulled that loose here. You can try to lift that and get under it, or you can do stuff like just goop some glue on the back and it'll still hold it in place. Sometimes better than the original sport. Any of these little pieces that offcut, I like to keep these because you can always use rubble for stuff. So, all right. So again, I used to know the mathematical terms for these. The less acute angle is going to be to the top, and the more acute angle is at the bottom. And so that needs to fit there. And this is somehow the right length. How is this the right length? I think I must have cut my roof wonky, but it's just a little bit too long. And I mean like a little bit, like 0.5 millimeter too long. For those of you who have to use imperial, that's like, I don't know, 128th of an inch, 70, 60, 64th of an inch. I don't know. Okay, still too little. I guess it took off almost an entire millimeter, so that would be a 25th of an inch. There you go. Look at me mixing my metaphors. All right, then more glue down the thingamadooch, and then you want to make sure to get this part and this part because they're all going to be connected. But again, just a tiny little amount of glue so it doesn't go squidging out on you. You don't want too much. Well, you don't want any bleed out on hot glue unless you're just really comfortable with using hot glue like I am. In which case, I fix it all as I'm doing it. Again, just like we did with the side pieces, we want these to stand a little bit out from the main body. We don't want them back in, and we don't want them lined up centered. We want it to stand up a little so that there's a little lip right here. All right, so that did not get very much glue in between there. But again, like I said, you can always come back behind, and I'm going to kind of hold this together with my fingers and put a little hot glue in behind there and just smear that around, make a little, essentially a truss plate for anybody who knows what that is, of glue. So that's that. What are we at? We are at 8 o'clock, so I've been doing this an hour. I am not going to finish this tonight. So do y'all want me to work on this next week, or do you want me to work on something completely different next week? I do not care. I just thought this would be a fun project tonight. Loosely collected says, cheap scavenging bastard. It's nice. I cut the timber pieces for the building's corners from pine board scrap. I got away. Yeah, and I have done that. I do have a bandsaw, but again, that's one of those things where not everybody has that, so I try to use stuff that everybody can get access to. But I keep telling myself I am going to go outside with my bandsaw and cut 2x4 offcuts that I have down to make real lumber for my houses. But in all honesty, it has only gotten warm enough to do that this week. So I will hopefully be doing that soon. Okay. Put that in place. Again, keep that standing proud right here. So there's a little bit of a lip right here. Check to see if you have any squirt out. It's not the word for it. What is it? Something else. Squeeze out. Squeeze out. That's it. Any squeeze out or anything like that. Okay. And until that glue stops moving, which it now has, you can still kind of move it around and put it where you need. This piece, I think, is a little loose down here, so I'm going to put a little bit in here just to secure that and make sure that's sturdy. Okay, last one. Oops, I almost put it on upside down. Let's go this way. And, ooh, I massively overcut that one long. Okay, so we're going to take like 2 millimeters off of that one. Wow, static. That's what static electricity does. This is why it drives me freaking bonkers. Sometimes I'll spray it with just a mist of water can make it go away, or certainly with a mist of alcohol. Let me show you. This is my alcohol mister, and static be gone. But it is wasteful of alcohol, so yeah, depends on your budget. Okay, so, and I tried to put it on upside down. So I am still too long on this piece. God, that was like 3 millimeters too long. 3 millimeters is 1/8 of an inch. I know y'all are asking. The same as when you get a 1/8 inch headphone jack, it's 3 millimeters. Not one of those weird skinny ones like this. Who was that used to make this? Those were horrible. Some people make this little 2.5 inch phone jack thing. They break so easy. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. It's just me bitching about a career I used to have when I used to do tech stuff. I haven't done tech stuff in a couple of years, so I'm going to let that go. Deep breaths. Woosah, woosah. Okay, so this is my last little repair board. I have a little bit of squeeze out, but I'm not that worried about it. Now, again, my piece up at the top didn't glue correctly. So, yet again, I'm going to take a little bit here, on here, just to make sure. Just smear that back and forth, and I'll make a little plastic plate on the back, or rubber plate, or whatever it is that hot glue's made of. By the way, hot glue comes in about 20 different formulations, but they all do basically the same thing. And none of them, and they're all considered non-toxic. I wouldn't go eating them. And if you're melting the foam because you have your glue set to high temp, that's a whole different issue. But, okay, now, at this point, you will notice this house is, well, maybe you won't. This house is not square. So, there are many ways to fix that. What I like to do is, I'm going to need that board back in a second. I like to take it to the grid on a cutting mat and just line it up just to see how far off it is. And you can see that this one, oh, let me do that again. It's almost 1/4 inch on the one side. See how this is lined up? And that is not. So you can take anything that is square, that you know is square, and put it on the inside. And you really only need to do it on one corner, and it will fix it. Now, I want this house to kind of stay in place. So if you remember earlier, when I was talking about my Jenga block things, I want this to be heavy and square. So I'm going to take 4 Jenga blocks, and I am going to put a little bit of glue on one side and one face. And then I'm going to take that and push it into that corner just like that. And that should have squared it up pretty dang well all by itself. But I'm still going to put the other 3 in just for the extra weight. Give a little, I don't want anybody like sneezing at the gaming table and blowing this away. So, and wow, I can already tell that made a total difference. If you look now, I will line that up with this side and, oops, there we go. Perfecto, but I'm still putting the other 3 in. Okay, so a little bit of squidge, a little bit of squidge. Take the block, Put it in there. That one's going to be squared up good there. Then, flip it over the other way. Bit of squidge. Bit of a squidge. And I'll put that in like that. I don't know what that little dot is. That's kind of weird, but anyway. There's a little dot in the board. Don't know. I heard another builder use the word squidge the other day, and I was like, haha, I'm not the only one. But yeah, squidge is my word for an amount. It's about yay much. Yay is for big, and squidge is for much. It's about a squidge much. Okay, so that is most of the house. Okay, dungeon matrons, machinations. I'm lazy, cut holes where windows should be, and then frame the hole with pieces of coffee stirs. Now, see, I'm even lazier than that. I just glue it on. I'll show you. So I want a door on the front and a door on the back. I figure this is the end of the house. This is the end. So I want the door to swing this way. So make sure that the latch is here, and I'm going to just take that and glue that on. That's actually my next step. Okay. A little bit of glue on the back of that. And I can stain or paint these any color I want after. And I am literally not eyeballing. I'm just eyeballing this. I don't care. This is just however you want it. Some people like the door to be right in the center and then have the windows and all that. I am going on the theory that it's cold in this area and they don't necessarily have all that many stinking windows. So there's that one. And then I'm going to do basically the same thing on the side. Maybe I will put this one on in the middle just for change of pace. Now, if you put it right in the middle, you have to decide which way to swing it. So I'm actually going to put it right in the middle and just stick it the same way, swing in that other direction. No, I'm going to have it so they both swing this way. Why? Okay, so I know that is 6 inches. I'm going to mark that because if I'm doing it in the middle, I might as well do it in the middle. So, made a mark in the middle. I'm going to put some glue in the back of this. Off camera because I'm a professional. And then I'm going to take that and line pretty much the middle of the door up with that little line and press it to the floor. And that's it. There's the doors. Now, when I'm putting these on the sides, I like to use a bigger square piece of wood, but I don't seem to have those. So let me see if I can find those real quick. I'm going to go through my box of wood again. Random offcut of foam floating around. Okay. I guess instead of making random noises off to the side, I can show you what I'm doing here. All right. Take my gluing board again. Get it back up here just cause. All right. I don't know where my square wood dowels are, so we're going to kind of hope I can find them quickly. I'll take my first wood box. And nope, I have a bunch of round dowels. No square ones. I don't know what I just threw on the floor, but I guess it'll live through it. Okay. I guess I just don't have any round, wood dowels, tongue depressors, cut off tongue depressors. All right. So here's what we are going to do. We are going to fudge it. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to take some of these little thin pieces and glue them around the outside edge and hope they look like enough. They don't look like that's going to be enough. What do you think? I can glue them this way and hope that that looks thick enough, which I'm probably going to do anyway. Or I could put them this way and build them up so that it like 2 or 3 or 4 layers. that's going to take a while to glue. So I think what I'm going to do is just glue these like this, and then glue another one across the top of it that's just a little wider so you can see it. So that's what I'm going to do. Did y'all decide yet on what you want me to build next week? Do you want me to keep working on this house, or do you want me to work on something else? And a bit of glue. That's a lot of bit of glue. Let's put a little bit of glue. Okay, we're going to take that. And I'm lining that up with the top of the door, which y'all will see why in a minute. Okay, then I'm going to take my little nippers, if I can find them. There's my ones. I've got two different sets of nippers. I've got some for electronics and some for not electronics. Let me grab these. Because these, I don't mind if the blade gets a little chewed up. My good ones for electronics are much more precise than this. All right, we're going to take that and just nip it off the bottom. Barney Fife would say, nip it in the bud. For those of you who are not old, that was a guy on TV. Back when we only had the 4 channels. Yeah, Grandpa. Take your medicine, get back in bed. Yeah, okay, fine. Back when our cars got 23 rods to the hogshead, and that's how we liked it, says Grandpa Simpson. Okay. House. More house next week? Okay. Because I don't think I'm going to finish this. So next week it'll be roof. I will have the windows found or recreated by then. And then I will be putting on a roof, a windows, and I will also put that stone trimmer on the bottom that I was talking about. So we will get to that next week, because I'm going to call this a night in about 15 minutes. I'm going to get the top of this piece of this door and this door on here, and then I'm going to talk a bit about how I'm going to do the roof, but I'm not actually doing any of that tonight. So let's finish this up. We want to take a little bit wider than that door. It literally doesn't matter how wide. I just want to be enough that you can tell that it's wider than the door. So we're going to go actually just a little longer than that. And I've got this all cut that's too short to be a door frame, so we're going to use that for the top on the other side, so they kind of match. Not that it matters, since they're going to be opposite sides of the house, so you'll never notice. But again, this little tiny itty bitty piece that's coming off of here, hopefully not shooting across the room. Oh, caught on my shirt. Is I save all these little things as little offcuts and various things. Like I said, I've got an offcut bin over here somewhere. I've got one for foam. I've got one for the insulation foam. I've got one for the packaging foam. I've got one for wood. I've got one for little bits of metal like wire and stuff. So it all gets used up eventually. Okay, so a little bit of glue on the top of the door. When I say a little, I mean it is a tiny amount I'm putting on there. Okay, and then take that piece, and to prevent squeeze out, I'm going to start at the front and kind of roll it toward the back. And you could actually put it at an angle like that. I don't know if you can see, but that's an angle. But I kind of wasn't planning that far ahead, so I'm going to, well, it kind of stayed at an angle anyway, because I talked about it long enough for the glue to cool. Okay, so that's at a slight angle. Perfect. Oh, nope, that's not sticking at all. Okay, so rather than put more glue on there, I'm literally just taking the tip of it and melting it. I heard you. I know what y'all thought when I said just the tip. I see you pervs. And putting more glue on here because I decided that I do want to put it at that angle. My channel is not for children. Please notice that last joke I just made. I mean, I'm all for kids learning how to craft and stuff, but I can't make any guarantees. I'm not going to cuss at you. Okay, so that looks good. I like that with that little angled piece. I don't know if you can really see that. Let me show you directly. Yeah. I got a lot of squeeze out on that side that looks really bad on camera, but it won't by the time this is all painted up. Okay. Save that one here. Now, a little bit of glue. and a little bit of glue. I wish I had a finer nozzle on this gun. I do like this gun pretty well. Should be able to tell by the color who makes it, but they don't pay me any money, so I'm not going to tell you. But I do like the gun. I'm actually quite happy with it. But I do wish it had a thinner nozzle, and I don't know that they have replaceable nozzles on that gun. So I don't know that I can change it. I've said gun about 15 times, so if I was to be monetized on YouTube, which I am not, I would probably be demonetized. But I mean hot glue gun. All right, let me clip this off, and then I'll take a look at the notes going on again. Let's see how you make the windows. They're really simple. The windows are basically the same thing. I do mine as closed windows, and I glue them onto like one of those tongue depressor things. I glue 2 ice cream sticks pieces onto it, and then I cut them at the size of the windows, because I used to try to make all my windows to scale rather than rule of cool. And to scale, they come out little, like the size of the inside of that hole. And that is too small. But I'm basically going to do the same thing again. But I'm going to do the same thing, but different. You'll see. Yeah, I think I will show that. I'll show exactly how I do that in next week's video as well. I've got too much squeeze on this. I'm not happy with that. Let me take a knife and scrape that off real quick. There we go. Okay. Okay. Start at the top of the door, work toward the bottom of the house. Of the house frame, is what I meant to say. Or door frame or something. Okay, so that's in place. Last little snip off of the night. Good to go. Save that. And this time I don't have to be so careful, since I know I'm putting it on at that strange angle. So a little bit more glue. Actually, just a little bit of glue still, but not worried if I run it over. Make sure that that's centered on the door. Okay, and that is what I've got so far. Somehow it has gotten a little wonky this way, and I have no idea how. And do you know how much I care? 0. Because again, this will be plunked down on the table, played around, and then picked up and moved. No one's ever going to care. And if I really wanted to fix it, I can push it in place next week when I attach the stone and try to get it to fix itself. Or I can simply attach the stone where it covers that gap, and I don't even worry about the angle. I won't do that. I will actually put the glue on the stone, stick it on there, and hold it in place while I put the glue piece on. But that's for next week. That's for next week. So, as I said, this is going to have some card stock on it, and what I'm going to use is just flat out and food card, like the kind that you use. Specifically, that one's going to be like cereal box card, cat food box card, Cheez-Its card, whatever, that type of card. And I'm going to make roofs out of this, and I'm going to make them so that they overhang a little. And then I'm going to start at the bottom and move these up. And each of these is going to go a little bit offset so that each of these gaps is over the next shingle, like people do real shingles in real life. I'm going to do all that next week. For right now, that is pretty much good to go. I'm going to switch back to the front cam so you can see me look at the screen really weirdly. And then I'm going to go through here and make sure I haven't missed anything. Yep, cut a lot of different cross section. Lucy Collected said likes to cut little strips of wood to make tiny lumber that looks in scale from actual real lumber. Talking about cutting it into small cross section sizes of squares and rectangles. You can use it for all sorts of stuff. Then when you find the right size you need, you just cut it the right length, and boom, good to go. So you cut a lot of that ahead of time. I have a whole box of when I was building this. I've got 2 videos on it. It's this workbench thing. I have a bunch of offcuts from different things, and those and some ones I've gotten from other things. I've got a whole box of them. So eventually, when the weather's nice, I'll take the saw outside, because I don't want to put sawdust in the house. I will take the saw outside, got a table out there, and I will cut strip after strip after strip after strip, and then I will turn some of those sideways and cut them narrower, and be good to go. If you cut them thin enough, you could actually use a balsa wood cutter to cut them as well, because if I'm working with pine 2x4s, they're soft anyway. But I will go ahead and do that on a bandsaw. If you don't have a bandsaw, I don't know what to tell you. Lisa, your new little chop off your finger machine can do it, but I'm telling you not to because I like your fingers still attached. So maybe don't. You could, but maybe don't. It's great for balsa. I wouldn't do pine on it. Put it that way. Okay. Let's see. What else am I looking at? I cut holes where windows should be in the frame the hole, which I can do if I'm going to leave them open. And I could do that and then put the shutters basically on the outside, because I still would take a little piece of wood and use it as a shutter because I think it looks better than just a hole. The problem I have with having a hole in it is then I feel obligated to put a piece of paper on the back so that it looks opaque, so that you can't really like look in and see that it's just a hollow frame. You can't look in and see like these little boards and stuff on the inside. I do have some screen wire I could use for a thing. So I could use some screen wire to make them look like leaded windows. And I can glue that onto paper. If I get some of those made before next week, I will show how to do it on screen and then use the ones where the glue's already dried and use those, because I can use that to cover the hole. Yeah, windows are easy. There's like 87 different ways to do windows. Let's see. Keep working in the house next week. Gonna do that. Okay, I've got 3 different ways to make windows. I will try to have some of those ready by next week so that I can show all of them how they're made, but the glue won't be dry, so I'll be showing how they make, and then I'll be using ones I've already made. So I'll get that done during this week. Access to a 3D printer or a friend that does. No, she doesn't. Somebody the other day said if I needed something printed, just ask them. Oh yeah, on the other day on Dungeon Matron, when we were chatting with T said that they can print stuff. So if you need windows, let T know. There are several good free window files. Yep, you can get all over the place. Yeah, all over the place. You can get free window files and door files all day long. Temporary solution for windows. Got a few grids out for windows from an old utensil rack and from a defunct dishwasher. Yeah, those looked great, by the way. Yeah. Loosely Collected, that was Dungeon Matron again. Loosely Collected says Dungeon Matron's back at her time to troll the Dollar Tree for something you can buy, and a lot of windows and cut to make windows. And I use my spinny blade of death saw to make the door of my tavern. Fingers are still attached. Good. Let's keep it that way. Yes, you do. You need to get back to printing stuff. Hold on just a second. I want to show one thing before we go. Instead of making houses, I need to make yards and fences, because I have a freaking boatload of Dollar Tree Christmas fences and gates, and I'm going to use them. Basically, I'm just going to take the wreaths off and leave the grassy parts and paint them up how I need them. The wreaths always try to pull the thing over, so I have a whole bunch of those. So I need to make a few yards here and there. I also have some, I know where they're at, I can't get to them right now, of the Fairyland stuff they have at Dollar Tree, of the gates that they have that have the big stone arch. I've got some with the gate still on them, but you can take a rotary tool and trim inside there and take that gate out really easy, because I think they're cast in resin, and you just take it off. Now, of course, breather mask and watch out for dust and all that fun stuff. All right, that is it. It is coming up on 8:30. This has been an hour and a half. I didn't know if I finished tonight, but I've gotten a significant part done, so I am perfectly happy with this. Next week I will be working on the house again. That will be windows and roofs, or at least windows. I will definitely work on the windows. I may not get to the roofs because the windows may take a long time for me to blather about. Let's see. Check out Dungeon Matron's channel. Check out Carl's channel. Check out Sim Peasant's channel. If you need links to any of those, let me know. But those are all. Dungeon Matron's got a Discord. Carl has a Discord and a YouTube channel. And Sim Peasant has a YouTube channel. So if you need links to any of those, hit me up on my Discord. Links in the down below. I have 3 patrons, which I will happily toss back on the screen again here, just while we're talking about it, and I'm going to have them over my face. So again, Lisa, Patrick, and DC, very happy for all of the help they've been giving me. And if you need links to any of these people that I've mentioned, come check out my Discord, and I will give you links to anybody that I can point you in the right direction. So Hot Crafts, Carl Makes Stuff, Quest, Ward Terrain, Dungeon Matrons, Discord. I miss somebody? Oh no, I was the 5th one. There were 5 people that entered things into today's challenge, and I was one of them. So I'm trying to count the 5th one, and it was me. So Carl, Sahak, Dungeon Matron, and Quest Board. Sim Peasant is my friend that does the really chill gaming.